Good morning, children. I'm starting the second part of the story, which yesterday I was explaining to you. Pip meets a convict. Now, as it happened, that man seized Pip by his chin. "Oh, don't cut my throat, sir," I pleaded in terror. Pip was scared, so he pleaded the man. "Pray don't do it, sir." "Tell us your name," said the man. "Quick." "Pip, sir." "Once more," said the man, staring at me. "Give it mouth." That means he was saying that give it some sound because Pip was scared. "Pip, Pip, sir." "Show us where you live," said the man. "Point out the place." I pointed to where our village lay on the flat inshore among the alder trees and polders a mile or more from the church. So Pip was so scared with the man's behavior that he just pointed out to where his village lay and the flat inshore among the alder trees and pollards a mile or more from the church. Pollards are trees with their tops cut off. So this was the place where Pip lived. So he pointed it out to the man. The man, after looking at me for a moment, turned me upside down and emptied my pockets. There was nothing in them but a piece of bread. When the church came to itself, for he was so sudden and strong that he made it go head over heels before me, and I saw the steeple under my feet. The church tower was underneath because he had turned Pip upside down. His head was down and his leg was in the air. Before he could understand all this, he was lifted from his feet. When the church came to itself, that means when he turned Pip straight, he said, I was seated on a high tombstone, trembling while he ate the bread ravenously. A piece of bread fell from Pip's pocket. The man had turned Pip just like a wheel. His head was down and his legs were in the air, and the church top was looking all upside down. So again, when the bread fell down, man made him sit on a high tombstone, trembling. He was so scared. Pip was so scared that he didn't dare to say anything to that man, and he ate his bread ravenously. Ravenously means very hungrily. He had run from the prison, so naturally he was very hungry, and those type of people are very bad. So children, never go near them. You young dog, said the man, licking his lips. What fat cheeks you have got. See the man talking in such a rough language. You young dog, he was calling the boy a dog, said the man, licking his lips. What fat cheeks you have got. I believe they were fat, though I was at that time undersized for my years and not strong. Though Pip was quite weak, this man was saying that you have got some fat cheeks. Damn me if I couldn't eat them. He was daring him that I am going to eat your cheeks. With a threatening shake of his head, he was shaking his head at the same time and threatening Pip. And if I hadn't half a mind to it, I earnestly expressed my hope that he wouldn't and held tighter to the tombstone on which he had put me. Pip was so scared he thought that he will eat his cheeks up also. Partly to keep myself upon it, partly to keep myself from crying. He was so scared, a small boy, and this ravenous man who was just looking like a jungly was misbehaving with a small boy. So he was very scared and he was clinging to the tomb so that he could save himself and not cry. And that means he didn't want to show his weakness to that man. Now look here, said the man, where's your mother? There, sir, I said. He started, made a short run, and stopped and looked over his shoulder. When Pip said, there, sir, that man thought she must be around, so he started to run. There, sir, I timidly explained. Also, Georgina, that's my mother. Oh, said he, coming back. And is that your father along your mother? Yes, sir, said I. Him too, late of this parish. Ha, he muttered, then considering. That man was so big devil, he muttered. He said something under his breath, then considering. Who do you live with? That means, who do you live with? Supposing you are kindly let to live, which I hadn't made up my mind about. This man was talking in a very rough tone to this boy. My sister, sir, Mrs. Joe Gaggery, wife of Joe Gaggery, the blacksmith, sir, said the boy. The blacksmith, sir, said the boy. He told the man about his sister and his sister-in-law and his brother-in-law and his name and that he was a blacksmith. Blacksmith, eh, said the man and looked down at his leg. Now he thought he got an idea that he would get a iron cutter and so he would be safe now. After darkly looking at his leg and me several times, he came closer to my tombstone, took me by both arms, and tilted me back as far as he could hold me. Tilted means that he again made him turn back as far as he could hold me, so that his eyes looked most powerfully down into me, so that he could stare down at him, and mine looked most helplessly up into his. Now, when he told him about his sister and about her husband, and that he was a blacksmith, he was very happy, so he thought that he would get that ring out of his leg. And so, in a threatening tone, he tilted him and looked at his face. Now, looky here, he said, the question being whether you are to be let to live, you know what a file, sir? File is. Then he asked him, do you know what a file is? That poor boy said, yes, sir. You know what victual is? The victual is an old word for food. At the long ago, people used to call victuals to the food. So he asked him, do you know what is file? And then asked him, what is victual? File is a tool which is used to cut the rough surface of iron, steel, whatever rough surface is there. Now, Pip said, yes, sir. Now, Pip said, yes, sir. After each question, he tilted me over a little more so as to give him a greater sense of helplessness and danger. I think he was threatening that boy, if he'll be scared of this man, he will not tell anyone about him, and quietly he'll go and get some food for him. You get me a file, he tilted me again, and you get me victuals. Victuals means food he'll bring. He tilted me again. You bring them both to me. He tilted me again. Or I'll have your heart and liver out. He tilted me again. Just imagine that devil of a man turning that small boy over and over again just to threaten him to bring the food and the file so that he can eat the food and cut his iron round his leg. I was dreadfully frightened and so giddy that I clung to him with both hands and said, if you would kindly please let me keep upright, sir, perhaps I shouldn't be sick. and perhaps I could attend more. At last Pip dared and told him that let me stand properly so that I can listen to you and I won't feel sick or giddy and I will attend to you. He gave me a most tremendous dip and roll so that the church jumped over its own wreath crock. So again, the church was just seemed that he's going head over heels, and the church was going round and round. Then he held me by the arms in an upright position on the top of the stone and went on in these fearful terms. That man was a real devil, he was threatening him. You bring me tomorrow morning early that file and them victuals. You bring me the lot to me and that old battery over yonder. Battery, I don't know what it is. You do it and you never dare to say a word or dare to make a sign concerning your having seen such a person as me or any person some ever, and you shall be let to live. See, he indirectly he was threatening Pip. This is what I was telling you. That he was threatening him, making him turn round and round, head over heels, so that he'll be so perplexed that he will not dare to tell his sister or her husband about this man. You fail or you go from my words in any particular, no matter how small it is, and your heart and your liver shall be tore out, roasted and ate. He was saying that I'll take out your liver and your heart and roast it and eat it. Now I ain't alone, as you may think I am. He was telling him, threatening him that I'm not alone. There is another man who is hiding behind. There is a young man hid with me, in comparison with which young man I am an angel. That young man hears the word I speak. See how he was making that young boy, he was telling him that there is another young man who is hearing my words. And then if you do some mischief, I'll get hold of you and roast your liver and heart and eat it up. That young man hears the words I speak. That young man had a secret way, peculiar to himself, of getting at a boy, and at his heart and at his liver. It is in vain for a boy to attempt to hide himself from that young man. A boy may lock his door, may be warm in bed, may tuck himself up, may draw the clothes over his head, may think himself comfortable and safe. See how he was saying everything he said. You may, however much you are inside the locked door, you are comfortable and safe in your room. But that young man will softly creep and creep his way to him and tear him open. So just imagine that young boy and that old prisoner, how that man was behaving with this young child. I am a keeping that young man from harming of you at the present moment with great difficulty. I find it very hard to hold that young man off your inside. Now what do you say? After threatening him all these things, he said, now what do you say? I said, the Pip was so scared that he didn't know what to say. So he said, I would go and get him the file. I would get him what broken bits of food I could, and I would come to him at the battery. I think battery was the place. Early in the morning. Say, Lord strikes you dead if you don't. That man said some abusing word. Say, Lord strikes you dead if you don't come. That means he gave him an oath type. If you don't come, you'll be dead. I said so, and he took me down. Just imagine how scared Pip must be with this man, this behavior of this man. So Pip now This is the summary of the story, children. I think now everything has come to you. These words, some words are very crooked, so you search in the dictionary. They are long, long ago. These words were victuals and files. These were used long, long ago. Most of the words are like that only. So, weathercock, peculiar. We say peculiar, they say peculiar. So now I'm just giving you the summary of the story. The story after this, Pip obeys in fear, but when he comes back with the items, the convict had been captured. The convict defends Pip by saying he stole these items from the boy. Later, Pip's uncle, Mr. Pumblecook, takes him to the wealthy Miss Havisham house, Satis house. During his visit, he meets a young girl, Estella, who behaves rudely with him. This is another story. I've read it. I'll tell you later sometimes when I get time. Pip falls in love with her and dreams of becoming a wealthy gentleman, and Miss Heaven's guidance, and becomes a wealthy gentleman and uh, gentleman and becomes worthy to her. Time goes by and Pip visits the Satis house regularly. With Miss Heaven's guidance, Pip becomes an apprentice of his brother-in-law, Joe, who is the village blacksmith. Pip struggles to get a better education, and time flies by and Pip meets a lawyer named Jagger, who tells him he has a secret benefactor with a large fortune for him, but he must go to London. What is Pip's fortune? Who is this benefactor? Read the complete novel to find out. Later, I'll tell you the story. You can come to know about it. Now, children, the story has ended. I think you all are very sincere. Hear the story carefully. You can repeat it also, the whole story together you can hear. Try to find the meaning of all the hard words. Try to find short answers from reference to context. And then on Wednesday, I'll ask you questions and meanings of the hard words. Thank you.